Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Screen Rot Podcast, the podcast where we discuss the weirdest and worst content that's been written on our screens and indeed our minds. Shout out to everyone who subscribes to us over on Apple, Spotify and YouTube. You're doing us a big favour. Not as big a favour as the people paying for this podcast. The Patreons, the Freemasons on $3.99 a month. They're getting extra episodes every single week and priority access to those wonderful live events that we do. The Illuminati on $5.99 a month. They're getting a free hat every time they sign up. Wait 3 weeks for it though. Big shout out to Eugene, who runs our Twitter account. He may indeed be sent by God. And most importantly, a big wink and a kiss to the ladies who listen, who are indeed some of the most gorgeous and sexy ladies in the United Kingdom. And I'm here as always with Jake Farrell.
The snacks in this office are outrageous. For those of you, little peek behind the curtain, how the sausage gets made, they still treat us as kind of like external guests. So they just like leave little snacks knocking about for us, and we've started also piling into their kitchen like we own the place as well. And the gear they've got in it's fantastic.
We record at my agent's office for anyone who's first time listener or whatever. Yeah, so they represent music clients as well. They've basically got a room which is a listening room, which is like if someone's bringing out an album, they sit in here and listen to it. Or if two fucking losers want to make a podcast about social media, they can do that as well. So yeah, we're having a good time in here. On the subject of food and snacks, so we're recording this just before, this is going to come out first week of Feb, we're recording this just before January ends. I am going to go ahead and make the bold assumption that I did lose 4 kilos in Jan.
Right. Not just of plasma either. Fat.
I've sent another load of plasma across the Atlantic.
No one wanted
to a
it.
huntsman.
No one needed it. I need to get it off my chest if I'm honest, Sue. Do you want a bit more, love? Have a bang on that. It's good gear, that.
The moose of Vancouver are quaking in their hooves, worried that I'm strengthening more hunters. No.
Oh, he's fucking done it again, eh? Sending that fucking plasma over here.
Well, I'll be damned. You do your best to live a good and worthwhile life as a moose.
Jordan Peterson, the moose.
Someone jumped off from their sickbed and shoots you in the bloody head. Well, how about that?
Should a woman that is hunting us as a species be getting plasma? No. Should she get a chance in life? Of course she should, but she shouldn't be getting plasma.
We are referring to last week's episode on Brian Johnson, where I spoke about the fact that I donated some plasma, stem cells, and bone marrow through the fantastic charity Auntie Nolan to a lady in Canada who
hunts moose.
Who hunts moose, but also beat cancer.
And you were fuming.
Wonderful donation. I wasn't fuming. I'm very grateful that she had more time with her family. Just wish she'd stop killing moose. Now. We're going to keep this intro quick and sweet because we really want to get into this week's topic.
Yeah.
Couple of things we do need to shout out. We pushed the Patreon. I don't want to keep pushing the Patreon. The one thing I will say, we had a fucking stormer at the Rotties. Best live event we've ever done.
Absolutely, yeah.
People
Can you
involved,
believe the police got called? Wow.
Surprise guests. I mean, you may well rub parts of your body that are sore. You will find out why he's doing that. If you want to watch the Rotties. If you want to watch the Rotties, however, it is behind a paywall. The reason for that is we spent a fucking fortune having it filmed incredibly well.
Economics, famously, not our strong suit.
No, we're morons, but we also wanted to get you a really good... We were really proud of the event and we wanted to make sure it's filmed really well. So that happened. It's nearly out. If you want to see it, you can sign up for just $3.99 a month. I always say this. If you sign up for $3.99, just watch the Rotties. If after that you have a look at the other content, we do an extra episode every single week. We've covered fucking great people over there. If you don't like it, I will refund you. Just contact me and I'll do it. Now, a couple of other things. I'm working with a personal trainer, Zach Southall. That's how I've lost the weight. You refuse to do it because you're worried he's going to insult you.
Yeah, I think he'd be well within his rights.
Just fucking do it. Huh? Just fucking do it.
I'm open to the idea of it. I think that...
Fucking open to the idea. Mate, this is not how fitness works nowadays. You have to be a monster. You have to be a machine. You don't lose 4 kilos by being open to ideas.
You need to be a mentality monster.
You have to be a mentality monster. You have to be Jordan Henderson. Up and down. Carry Trent's bags for him. Get in the box. Third man runs.
Yeah, okay, right. Okay.
Defend corners.
I can see that in order to...
Move to Ajax. Take the Saudi money. Apologise. Sorry to the gay community. You have to be a mentality monster.
That does sound like my life trajectory, actually. Okay, all right.
To the gay community.
I can see that to be the best host that this podcast requires, in order to be like the Chris Williamsons of the world. I need to be super jacked in order to do this.
Shout out Chris.
No one can sit
Watch
on their
the
arse and
Rossies
talk
if
into
you
a
like
camera.
Chris Williamson. Do you know what it was for me? I did a TalkSport show in December.
Mm-hmm.
And I always let myself go in December. I always allow myself that. I always
Best
will.
part of the year.
Yeah. Fucking brandy every night. I famously don't drink water. I just drink caffeinated drinks
that's
and alcohol. TalkSport did a fucking... They used a thumbnail for a video that I was in, and they put it up. And so, like at least 3 people sent me the thumbnail. One of them, bless him, my mate Malcolm, he's a Newcastle fan, and we were talking about Arsenal Newcastle, and he was like, "Oh yeah." And I said, "You've sent me that because my head looks so fucking fat in that." He was like, "Yeah, I have." Honestly, I could have been. It was as if they were auditioning me for the next Alan Brazil. Like the fucking boulder, the jowls. I am not a man blessed with much jawline.
Right.
I'm not a man blessed with any beard to hide that lack of jawline.
Right.
I cannot go above about 14% body fat.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm just a neck with eyes. Otherwise, I'm just a long neck. Just
okay,
I've got
fair
a
enough.
turkey.
Yeah.
So I'm getting fit. Shout out Zach Southall. We'll put Zach's link in the episode description. The other thing that we should probably talk about. I've still got a discount code with now. And by the way, I've said this many times. I don't get paid for this. This week's topic means probably should mention dents.
Yes. Good shout.
I noticed a bit of the old male pattern baldness underneath my floppy old fringe. Got in contact with Dents. Topical finasteride minoxidil. Jacob 30 at checkout gets you 30% off.
It does not make your cock and
Dents.
bollocks fall off, despite what you may have read.
Brian
in the
Johnson
media.
measures me every single night. I've still got at least one erection a month. And so...
The size of Jacob's anus after the dents is unbelievable what it's done.
Now, I wanted to mention that because this guy we're talking about this week... again, we do the tease in the intro despite the fact his name is in the episode title. We got sent this a lot, right? I'd say 50% of people sending this guy to us were going, "Look at this nutter, isn't this a laugh?" As we love it when you do so. The other half were going, "He needs some dents."
State of the hair, yeah.
Or going, "I bet that's what you look like underneath your fringe."
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Would you believe that the
Hairline
audience...
reveal. I'm not that bad.
The audience and the Patreon of the
Cunts.
Screen Rot podcast absolutely obsessed with going bald or other people being bald.
Yes.
Make of that what you will.
Yes.
Myself included, to be fair. And this guy's really got something going on up top that I hope I will have the balls one day to avoid, and I will just go full shave.
Okay, well, we'll get into that, and let's just fucking get into it now, because there's a lot on this guy, and
there's a lot
I
to talk about.
really like this guy. I have to say, Spreadsheet boys, if you're listening, of course they're not. They've got better things to do with their lives. The lads who made a spreadsheet about the topics and how much we like or dislike them, I think this guy's...
He's going to be a likeable guy.
I like him.
You like him?
Ladies and gentlemen, this week we are talking about Hugo Hamlet. Boy, get on this.
I like these ones because I don't really know that much about this guy, and I do like the experience of kind of being sherpered up the mountainside of insanity.
Well, listen, don't get too excited. It's been a busy week. I don't know that much about him. This won't be the deepest of deep dives. Let me tell you that, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a mad time with the Rotties and everything. I've done my best. I don't think you need to go too deep on this freak.
Okay.
Hugo Hamlet.
250,000 followers, not an insignificant number of followers.
Not insignificant, but not a huge one.
Yeah,
You
not
won't
a
know
Joe
him
Wicks.
by name. You will know him by image. I'm sorry to audio listeners because you fucking need to see this guy. If you're listening on an audio device, I beg you, just take a second and Google Hugo Hamlet just so you can see him.
And if you can't do that, imagine the dad from the Rugrats, and that will get you pretty
Mate.
close.
You have been hard on Stu Pickles there.
Stu Pickles.
The dad from the Rugrats.
There's a bit of the dad from the
I
Rugrats.
look
about him.
like the dad from the Rugrats. This guy looks like a fucking Dr. Seuss character. This guy looks like
Stu Pickles. Fucking hell.
Stu Pickles taking strays. He doesn't look that bad, Stu. Let me get up fucking Stu Pickles right
The
now.
most animated you've been in the history of this podcast is defending the honour of the fictional character of Stu Pickles from the Rugrats.
Do you know why? Because I very often say I look like Stu Pickles, and I'm the amount of people who've gone, haha, his hairline, this guy, and I'm like, fuck off, I don't look like Stu doesn't look that fucking bad, right?
He looks like Stu Pickles.
Jake will now promise that he's going to put an image of Stu Pickles. He fucking won't. Now, Hugo Hamlet. Hugo Hamlet.
Is it his real name? Do we know?
No. Hugo Hamlet?
Well,
It's not his real name.
Posh people have got funny names.
Well, okay, posh people. So let's try and describe this guy. Let's fucking do our best. To quote his website, or at least his agent's website, he's a multidisciplinary artist.
Get fucked. That's the first thing. Anytime someone says that, get fucked. Get out of my life.
Yeah, you're unemployed. We're all multidisciplinary artists.
Yeah,
yeah. He's a multidisciplinary artist. He is also a model.
Wow.
Yes. Now.
What
again.
for? Coffins. He looks mad.
What for? Coffin. He's a coffin model.
Sorry, I'm not having a go at people's.
He's a coffin model.
Having a go at people's personal appearance, but like, I don't know.
Oh, that's done. It's a coffin model. Sorry.
And this is what the cadaver will look like after 12 to 15 months. Stu Pickles is doing the modelling for us there.
Stop it. He is a model. He does music. But basically, he's one of those people who's been around for quite a long time.
He's been having a go at it for a long while.
He's been having a go. You go on his YouTube, those videos fucking years ago.
Right.
He's a kind of airy, oughty, very skinny, tall, cheekbony, defined guy.
Yeah.
He used to have very fine, dyed pink hair that would kind of fall all over the place, and he'd sort of prance around in silly clothes, sometimes making music, sometimes being a model, right? He's now going bald. What he's done is not shave it off and gone for a fucking, I'm keeping it, I'm dyeing it pink, I'm throwing it all over the gap.
Yeah, it's mad.
Which I think is sick.
Okay.
Right? I tell you what, I have completely, this whole thing of like, if you're going bald, just shave it off.
You don't agree anymore?
No way.
Okay, that's a big difference
way.
between you and I, because I think I'm gonna truly try and go early.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to be like, I'm kind of Bobby Charltoning a little bit at the moment. I'm kind of using bits for other bits of the head and stuff. When it goes fully like comb over-ish and you're putting like, I don't know.
Right, okay. I think comb over looks stupid. Trying to look like you have hair when you don't have that much hair looks stupid. But like, I saw a clip of Jude Law the other day.
Okay.
Being like, I love my receding hairline.
Yeah,
he's got hair, but he just pulls it back.
I don't mind that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that looks sick,
Okay.
and I think this guy looks sick.
Yes.
Like,
I mean, he doesn't look like Jude Law, and neither do I. So it's difficult to get away with it.
But do you know what? Like, once I say he's a model, can you kind of see it?
I know what you mean. I think we've talked before about we were talking before about Hayley Welsh and the girl next door, as opposed to the kind of like fashion model where you look mad.
She's the opposite, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's the complete polar opposite. Hayley Welsh, the Hawker, right?
She's a normal lady.
She's a normal, fit lady, but you couldn't imagine her being a model.
No.
Whereas this guy, you can't imagine him being fit. You can imagine him being a model.
I know what you mean.
Except a lot of people want to fuck this guy.
Do they?
Yes.
Fascinating.
Now, this guy, you'll have seen him. He basically walks around looking insane, like looking like a Dr. Seuss character. Right, you maybe don't read that much Dr. Seuss. I've got kids, so I read a lot of Dr. Seuss. This is the kind of nutter that turns up in the middle of The Cat and the Hat and starts trashing someone's bedroom for a laugh.
Yes,
right,
okay.
This is like The Grinch.
Yes.
Like he looks like a character from The Grinch. Yeah. And what he does, he sort of walks around filming himself talking. Don't we all, brother? But he just says mad shit. And you'll have seen him on your Explore page.
In quite the get-up as well.
Quite the get-up, yeah. Dressed like the fucking Addams Family.
Yes.
Just bopping around.
Yeah, there is an Addams Family.
Bopping around somewhere. But what this guy is, and I'm very sorry, because we refer to London and things in London quite a lot, and I know we've got people in Scotland and Manchester and all over the country. So
the other two places, Scotland and Manchester.
Yeah, that is the other two places we've got people. And do you know where else? Where is it? Fucking, I'm going to say this wrong. Droitwich.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is that?
That's really, really near where Emma's family are from. It's just west of Bromsgrove.
The number of hats I've sent to fucking.
Do you reckon that's like if you are like all one mate group in Droitwich that like the podcast and it's all spread around, give us a shout. Or if it's just a weird coincidence where there's loads of you in Droitwich, then yeah, do let us know.
What's going on in Droitwich? I was like, is it somehow like a sort of different state and it's a tax haven or something? I was genuinely wondering that.
Droitwich.
But I did wonder. I was like, was it a military base? Have we got into some? I don't know. Anyway, this guy is Camden Sleaze. This guy is. Thank you. This guy is Noel Fielding era, Libertines era, Camden. And if you're not London based, it's indie sleaze, I guess, isn't it? It's kind of like it was, formal wear, sort of trashied up a bit.
Yeah, the horrors.
Yeah, the horrors.
Yes.
Yeah. Theatrical,
androgynous.
And there was a lot of heroin chic to it.
This looks like a guy that would have done like some artwork in blood for a Baby Shambles album.
Yes, exactly that. And he's from an era where you could be a quote-unquote multidisciplinary artist. You could be a quote-unquote model who's never modelled anything, but he's got an agent, right? And somehow you could afford to both live in Camden and do heroin without having a job. Let's watch a clip.
This is the first
I just want people to think of that era. Think of Russell Brand hosting Big Brother's Little Brother. Think of Noel Fielding on Big Fat Quiz of the Year.
Yes.
Think of the Libertines in the charts, and then look and listen to this guy.
We're currently in the lull in between Christmas and New Zealand. I mean, New Year's.
Wink.
A time of reflection and relaxation, ultimately. To re-earth, rebirth, the new seeds for our new selves going to 2025. Aye. What a lovely time to rest and fill yourself up with love for you and have gratitude for this wonderful you that you've made it here through all the storms, and you're about to embark on a whole new journey. Love yourself and enjoy the lull. Have a fantastic day, Alf.
Now, I have no idea where he is, right? For anyone
like
listening,
Hyde Park or something.
Yeah, it's some rural bit of London, right? For anyone listening, what you can see this nutty, skeletal, skinny guy with about 7 hairs, all pointing in different directions.
Wearing a suit with like a woolen overcoat.
Yeah, it's shot portrait, so you can see a tie
and
a shirt and what seems like a kind of fur or very
white
soft
fur coat.
Right, and he's just walking and saying
this
bollocks.
Whatever this is.
Yeah, right. If I told you that if the camera were to zoom out and he had his cock and bollocks out, he'd believe that.
100%. I think it's more likely than him wearing trousers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If I'm betting either way, like Paddy Power are giving you better odds.
Yeah. What does this guy? Yeah, that would be a good game to play. Actually, we should do a Screen Rock game show where we get pictures of guys, and you say, "Does this guy have trousers on, or does he have his cock and bollocks out?"
He's got his cock and bollocks out.
I would have all my chips on the cock and bollocks thing. If it was like in a casino and it was like blackjack table, you can put black or red.
What's his name? Bradley Walsh.
Bradley Walsh.
So you're playing it safe, Jake. You're saying he's got his cock out. You're not going for the big money on this one, Jake. You're saying cock out.
I think so, Bradley. I think he's got his cock out.
You're not going to gamble. You're not going to say. The beast is just there going, his cock is out.
There is sleaziness to him. There is a sleaziness. I think
but I think of that era.
Mm-hmm.
I think of that era, and I'm thinking kind of 2009 time, right? When you get the kind of Russell Brand on television, Pete Doherty, Kate. I don't think that was necessarily recognised as sleazy back then.
It is now.
Oh my God, it is now. Like that's I don't really want my partner looking at that, let alone being near that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That now that feels sleazy. But I kind of like. I think because of his hair.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't feel like a threat.
I think that's a good point, yeah. He's so cartoonish as to not be... And I mean, I wonder if that's how some ways Russell Brand got away with what is alleged about him. The whole kind of
100%.
bookie wook. I'm dressed
look
like a
at me,
vampire.
I'm just a bit skinny. Oh,
'Cause,
I've got to be on
in the-
like Amy Winehouse. May I come and help you try on your trousers?
Yeah.
Like it was that. It was faux
We're not saying
vulnerability.
We're not saying this guy's a beast.
Not at all, and I don't think he is.
No.
But I think looking back at that time when people were doing this back then,
Yeah.
I think it very often was a disguise for something sinister.
Right.
Oh, I wouldn't be the sun shagger of the year. I'm just trying to be a good boy for me mummy. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, you're a fucking sex offender, mate. Like,
Allegedly, yeah. Well, there's definitely whatever. Obviously. But this guy definitely has that vibe. I think had kind of front-facing camera culture been around during this time, I think Russell would have been doing that at that time. So would Noel Fielding. So would Johnny Borrell. So would all
Noel
of the
Fielding did a funny thing the other day. Did you see Noel was in the news?
Yeah, didn't he just like not turn up for work?
He ran away.
Why?
I mean, had you seen the show?
No.
Do you know what? They're like, so basically, he was making this telly show
For Apple TV.
Yeah.
Called like Dick Turpin or something.
That was it, and it was a kind of like semi-fictional,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And then there was this news story that they were halfway through filming a series and he just did a fucking runner. And
which I think is a really heinous thing to do, because knowing friends that work freelance in TV
yeah,
production,
you're fucking
you're fucked.
so many. You are fucking. There are freelancers who don't know if they're going to get paid because if they can't make the episode, it's not a deliverable, so you don't get your usage fee. Blah blah blah. There's people who have spent so, and you're making like a producer's day so much more stressful. And yet, if you've seen that series at all, you go, fair enough. No, I wouldn't want that to my fucking name. I'd start running. I wouldn't stop running.
I'd be in fucking Bolivia.
I saw him. I mean, I'm fascinated by this because it's kind of our era, isn't it? That kind of indie sleaze.
Yeah.
We grew up.
Mighty Boosh was a big part of my
we
growing
were
up,
teenagers growing up with all that, and you know, you and I have spoken about this in the past that like, you know, fucking hands up. I think we both grew up as comedy fans. We were big Russell Brand fans.
Huge, massive.
I loved his stand up.
Yeah.
I used to, and
by the way, I believe all of the allegations about
Jake's trying to stop us.
A tricky
getting,
legal position, I think, of like when everyone believes something
what's
to
he
be
gonna
true.
Sue us with YouTube money? Like it's fucked. You can't get us now. But no, I've got theories about why Russell Brand was so popular at the time, and I think it was very. I think you look back now, it wasn't the writing. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't the gags.
Yeah.
I think what he was doing is a kind of thing that happens more now. Even like this, like I think people quite like, and obviously he was in Hollywood, but then he'd do a stand-up show and give you here's what was happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But in the same way that. You know, when we drive to Aylesbury to perform to fucking 100 people, people like listening to us. Like, he was that kind of fish out of water, despite the fact he looked like a character from a book.
Yeah.
He was doing the whole, this is what would happen if any Essex guy was in Hollywood. And I'll tell you. But I also think there was a thing of like at the time, I'd grown up being like a big Nirvana fan. Right? Throughout my childhood, I listened to like a lot of like rock and guitar music. But it was a time when like pop music had kind of fused with grime, and you'd get Calvin Harris and Dizzy Rascal. That was the charts in pop, and there wasn't loads of like guitar music in the charts. Although it's the time of the Libertines, there was indie, but there wasn't rock.
Yeah.
Whereas he and Noel Fielding looked like rock stars.
They did, yeah.
So I think if you were a Grebo, like I was,
yes.
Guns N' Roses weren't active. There was no, and you didn't really like indie. Felt a bit watered down. You didn't love the Kooks. He was the only rock star you could idolise. They were the only active rock stars of the noughties. Russell Brand and Noel Fielding.
I agree to an extent, yeah. But I was a full-on indie. Go and see the Kooks multiple times. Skinny jeans, headband.
So were you?
But I loved it. I think I loved it because it was non-laddie. It was like it was camp, and it was like
if you like.
I played football and stuff, so I had that kind of. But I wasn't very masculine. Like
I'm not saying this is like a beta.
Yeah, I think I was. It was. I got a lot of my social cachet from humour, not from being someone that could knock someone out.
Yeah.
And those are the big three. I think football. Are you funny? Can you knock people out? Do girls fancy you? Maybe the fourth one. And it's like you could get social cachet. And Russell Brand was, again, as we know, maybe not quite, but like a kind of like a different version of sexuality in the way that Noel Fielding was as well. It wasn't actually kind of lame or rubbish or embarrassing to wear tight clothes and have your hair long and have like that was cool actually, and that girls like that, by the way, and like that was
and but no one was doing it apart from these guys. Yeah. And
what's funny now is that they all look like people that used to be mates with my nan. Like Noel Fielding looks like a woman called Sandra now. He looks absolutely insane.
I remember me and my missus were around, like, we get Hampstead Heath quite a lot because my missus grew up outside of like the UK. We spend all of our time in like the kind of tourist spots that like Londoners would never go to.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because she's Irish. Like, you give my missus like a spare Saturday, you go, what do you want to do? Hampstead Heath or South Bank? Yeah. And it's like...
That's fucking sick, though, because living in London must be like a fucking dream for her. Because, do you know what I mean? She's like... it's like she's living in an episode of Friends where they go to London every week.
Yeah, but
she's not jaded like I am.
Well, it's also that thing of like... Again, sorry to be too London-centric, but like this happens in Manchester and places like that as well, which is, you know, or maybe even Droitwich. But like it's not that kind of too cool for school thing of like, Hampstead, I'd rather go to like an industrial estate in Dalston and try out this new bakery. It's like, no, I'm going to go to the massive park. Like, you know, I'm going to go by the beautiful river.
I'm going to have a Pizza Express.
We were walking around Hampstead Heath, and I remember like there was like a couple, and like the woman was walking like 20 yards ahead with the baby, and then there was this big fucking... I went to Lana, I went, Jesus Christ, someone hasn't got changed since 2008, because I just saw this like big, overweight, like long, dark, clearly dyed hair, fucking stupid cowboy boots and skinny jeans bloke. I was like, God, this is sad. And he was carrying the car seat for the baby, and then we crossed paths with him, and it was Noel Fielding. And he's like, all right, because I was like looking, I was like jaw on the floor, because like, he was my hero. I loved Noel Fielding when I was a kid. I used to watch like the Mighty Boosh.
Oh my God, I watched the Mighty Boosh, wore it out. Yeah,
and he just plodded up this hill, struggling with a car seat, and I was like, wow, the Mighty.
That's like fucking seeing Pete Doherty wandering around in like the red military jacket still.
but they kind of do. I mean,
Pete does, to be fair.
Yeah, but they all do, and that's what I kind of like about this Hugo Hamlet guy. Yeah. He's a proper Camden relic. It's like he hasn't got changed since 2008.
Good save. We could have done another hour about Indie Sleaze there and forgot what we were talking about.
It's usually you that ropes us back, but I tried. But yeah, let's watch another clip of Hugo. I mean, okay, so and we're going to get onto, like, this is one, again, for audio viewers, he's definitely got his cock and bollocks out now because he's got his shirt off.
Yeah, this one on the round of has they've got their cock and bollocks out, this would be a much easier bet. So he's here, and he looks to be in the Highlands or something.
And he's fresh out the water.
Fresh out the water.
Life, it's all about plunging into the darkness. It's seeking out the unknown and pivoting through that fear place.
He's doing
once
that thing.
We jump in the ocean,
twiddling.
we're in that
lovely
lovely place of freedom, because we've defied our own egolens. We've defied that part of us which believed that we couldn't do that thing. So plunge into the ocean and make your dreams a reality. Have a fantastic day. Alf.
There's a bit of patois there. Ocean, he's doing that.
Oh, no, but what does he keep saying at the end? Alf.
Alf, yeah, I don't know what that is.
Do you reckon that's the cameraman's name? Say, like, cut
Alf. What he's doing, he does, somewhat questionable use of kind of patois or West Indian accent there in Ocean.
We've done that on this podcast.
No, we haven't.
We have. If you go back through the episodes, I've started. Anyway.
But he also does this thing where he goes in, he's clearly a posh guy, but he's aware of that hyper level of poshness that people speak in, like, you know, when people like at the kind of Queen levels of poshness where they have like the kind of ears, like it's beyond that. So he'll say like gratitude, like that.
Aristocratic.
I quite like that. That's funny, I think.
Yeah.
To talk.
Well,
like
I mean, when we've spoken about this before,
voices are funny, I think.
I'll tell you what, searing insight from the Screen Hot Boys here. When you do a funny voice, it don't half tickle me. You know, when you say something how it's not usually said, God, do I chuckle.
It's just like this cut to like 5 years time, we're still just there. You know when they do the funny voices, that don't half tickle me when they do the funny voices.
I tell you what, after we've just spoke about Russell Brand quite a lot, I was like, fucking hell, this is like the setup to one of...
It is
like
Bookie Wagari, isn't it?
Yeah, man.
What I always say though, like, you know when we spoke about the Birkin boys, the Angel Boys, and we said they had that like nice knowing aspect to them where they are kind of there's that little undertone of irony and they're taking the piss out of themselves. I do get that sense a little bit from him as well. I get a sense of his understanding of the ridiculousness of what he's doing and some of the humour coming from that. Like, he isn't out and out being like, I'm a good life coach, I'm here to tell you lessons about how you're living.
This is bollocks. It's not earnest. It's not like he doesn't think anyone's going to take a cold plunge after watching this. It's he knows he's talking like a prat and it sounds daft and he looks insane.
And it don't half tickle me.
and the two old nans have screamed at me going, oh, Eddie funny, I actually like his hair.
He's funny, isn't he? He talks so funny.
The other thing is, like, he's doing that thing of, like, he's clearly posh, he's clearly from money, but...
Yeah, he's always just, like, knocking about. There's no purpose to any of the videos.
Well, so this is what I'm going to get onto, yeah. But he's always just pottering around.
Pottering around.
He doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a job.
This is the life I want to live, pottering around doing funny voices.
But this is the thing.
Go into your shan.
So I'm going to get into this. Some of them do. There are relics, and I'm going to, sorry to kind of keep Londonising it, but it is Camden. I mean, the thing with him, like, I do like that he's like, I'm posh, and I'm going to sound even posher. It's the opposite to like a Henry Rowley who's like, hey, here's some observations about Soho House people, because that's not what I am. By the way, if you like that, 2 episodes about him on Patreon. Don't fucking tell anyone.
We're not obsessed.
But yeah, he there are still relics from Camden from 2008 who have not got jobs, who have somehow still got somewhere to live, and are just pottering around.
Do you know how they've got somewhere to live? Parental money. That's what it is.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So me and my mates used to and still do sometimes drink in Camden. I used to live in Camden. I lived in Camden for years.
Did you used to go the Hawley Arms is the famous kind of haunt of Amy Winehouse and
felt
Pete Doherty.
too on the nose because it's my name. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. Yeah, you just feel like a tourist. I went there once and everyone kept going, "Oh look," because Jake, what is a Hawley? I was like, "Fuck this is horrible." But it's funny. I whilst researching this episode, I was like, God, this is proper Camden 2010 stuff. And so I called my mate Jerome because we used to go out, but we were. I feel like we were funny. Like the way I sort of in my early 20s used to drink and go out. Like I think we had a kind of arrogance to us, me and my mates, where it's like a normal night out wasn't enough for us. I think we felt we were too interesting and like mad,
right,
that something always had to happen. But it meant that we would look for things to happen, which meant we'd get beaten up, or like we'd have fights, or like stupid shit would happen. And like we were always, it was never like we were just like we'd get drugs at the end of the night all the time. It's like the pubs would kick out at 12:30, then we'd pick up,
right,
and then we'd need somewhere to go. I mean, it was just. I look back and it's so stupid. Like but like
work the next day.
We weren't. Yeah, we were,
sometimes
you were calling in sick. And we all had stupid jobs, or we were students, or whatever. But we'd be looking for people like this.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? We'd be on the lookout for a character.
You would allow people into your group for the night for mad stuff to happen. We've had a few, like. One that stands out to me, we were, again, in Camden, and there was this woman, a little bit older. I say a little bit older, she was like in her 60s. Okay.
And it was late in the night.
Do you want any plasma, darling?
She's aiming a rifle out the window in case a moose walks past. But my mate Jerome starts chatting to her at the bar. And, you know, we all look at each other and go, wow, he's older than he usually goes for, old Chezza. But he comes over and he's like, look, you've got to come to the bar and have a drink with this woman. And we say, why? And he goes...
Good question.
Well, yeah. We are. We're like, why is that? He goes, you know, Take On Me.
Do I?
Pardon? You know the song Take On Me? You know the video? You know it's hand-drawn? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know the song, yeah.
You can't... Who's it? Rick
Aha.
Astley?
No.
I know, it's Aha.
Oh, yeah, I think...
Aha.
Anyway, that Swedish band, yeah. Let me look it up. Keep talking.
So he's like, basically, there's, you know, Take On Me, the song. If you ever watch the music
Jacob's
video,
last search terms for this podcast, Stew Pickles and the song Take On Me.
Yeah, it's by Aha.
Yeah, okay.
Now, you can even see it there. The music video is
drawn. It's
kind of hand illustrated.
Yes.
I don't know how this has come up in conversation.
Well,
this woman has
the
told
first thing
my
she
mate
says to
Jerome.
everyone.
This woman is. It's the reason she's on her own. This woman has told my mate Jerome that she drew that.
Incredible lie, if not. Incredible way of getting drinks out of impressionable people. Going, do you know what I drew? The video to Take On Me.
Enough, the song wasn't playing. So we go over, a few drinks. We're in the process of, picking up, then she's like, "Do you want to come back to my flat?"
The answer's always no.
We're early to mid-20s. She's 60. There's
Right.
4 of us lads, and she's like, "Do you want to come back to my flat?" Yeah. And then you go back, but she looks like this, like Camden 2008 sleaze, right? Obviously a bit older.
Vivienne Westwoodish, punkish.
Yes,
right,
exactly.
Yeah.
And we get back there, and it's like a fucking bedsit. It's like one room.
Okay.
And she's playing the song, "Take On Me."
Okay.
And she's getting so excited. And she's showing us drawings, which she didn't draw it. Like, even in our state, she's showing us these drawings, and we're going, okay, you did.
Fucking
But
hell.
she's turning it up, and the neighbours are fucking, "Shut up, man." She's obviously done this. Every
Yeah.
fucking- And then we're going, "Look, we've got some coke," and she goes, yeah. And it's like, okay, this is what you wanted. So we're
Okay.
racking up fucking coke on this mirror. She's fucking snorting through lines, and she's turning the "Take On Me" up and just repeat louder and louder. It's like when my kids listen to Spider-Man songs, they just want it again and again. She'd want it again and again. Then she has another line, and at this point, we're quite fucked. At this point, she goes, "This is the fucking best song ever."
She's got a point, to be
We're
fair.
going, okay. Then she starts jumping up and down on her bed. She's 60 years old. She's jumping.
That'll be the
up and-
cocaine.
Well, yeah, that's it. My mate Ollie is smoking out the window. And my mate Ollie's really funny. He's got a bit of, I don't mind saying it, not spectrum, but like he's sort of strangely serious at strange points.
Yeah.
He turns around and he sort of goes to us. She's in another world, just jumping up and down,
Yeah.
holding a drawing of "Take On Me."
Wow,
on this.
it's making me feel anxious. You just describing it.
He turns around and he just goes to us, like, he just snaps into seriousness and goes, "She's going to have a fucking heart attack in a minute and we're going to get arrested." So we say our goodbyes. But what my point is, if you search hard enough through the bars of Camden or wherever there is in Droitwich that's like this,
Yes.
like, these people exist.
I do remember that impulse that there were characters around every corner. And also Camden is very aware of its own mythology now.
Exactly.
I'd imagine that she views herself even as a kind of part of the
won't
Camden
leave.
furniture.
They won't
yeah,
leave.
yeah.
You can't get them
I
out.
hope she's all right.
We didn't kill her. I know for a fact we didn't kill her because Jerome found her at the same bar again 3 weeks
He
later.
had a
and
nice
took
conversation.
selfie.
Okay,
Thank
great.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Right. He also, I mean, I'm not going to go into too much detail of this because we could, but
Don't.
he had a similar situation with.
No, fuck no.
No, don't bleep it.
We have to. We can't. You can't fucking say stuff like that. Stop saying "don't bleep it." I have to bleep that stuff. We could get so. Shut up! Shut up!
She is a heroine.
Why do you say shut up? Why do you say "don't bleep it"? That's insane. It's so easily identifiable. It's defamation.
And
You can't just keep saying stuff like that.
Wait, just beep out the bit where I say who it was and then ex-wife. Basically, a famous person's like my mate. It's always Jerome. He finds this.
He finds
other-
characters.
He finds this other Camden character. This one's got a really young boyfriend, and she's basically.
Look, these sound. I don't want to hear this story. I know this story. It's not good. There are.
kept falling out because my mate kept saying, "Stop doing heroin."
There's a.
And they wouldn't.
Well, they were. Yeah, they won't. Heroin addicts.
Okay, this is what
You
I'm
can't
trying to-
say that either.
He's on, mate. Fucking look
No,
at
we
him.
don't. No, he looks fine.
He's not. He's got his cock out.
We don't. He has got his cock.
Let's watch another clip before I get us.
So Hugo Hamlet is in this world. There are characters, vulnerable characters, all around Camden. Is he one of them? He's maybe a bit more West London. Here's another clip of him.
He's not whistling.
Ashka Bunji.
Jesus Christ.
Bunge, for those who understand me. And even if you don't, well, does it matter? No, things don't really matter. Because what really matters is abundance. You, the real you, the power you have within you. You have everything. The secret is to not need. As soon as you stop needing anything, you start attracting like a mozzie into a flame. Have a fantastic day. No one can stop you. Oh.
He's funny, man. I like him.
I really wish I'd brought a fucking Dr. Seuss book with me.
As a point of comparison.
Oh my god, it's honestly the cadence of the speech. It's what's the one I read to my daughter sometimes? Fuck, I should have
Green
brought...
eggs and ham.
It's like that. Yeah. Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them. Sam I am. Ow.
Could I buy a bit of heroin off you?
Yeah, he's on heroin.
No, he's not. Your opinion is that he looks like someone from the Camden Indie Sleaze era that might have taken heroin. You cannot say the phrase, he's on heroin. You can't say that. People are listening to this now. They weren't listening in the beginning.
He's not.
He might be.
He might. Right, okay. Now, our point of contention is whether he might be. I won't say it again.
When he has the aesthetic, he has the aesthetic of someone. Like in the Camden Indie Sleaze era, people were taking heroin. Pete Doherty was famously taking heroin. I believe Kate Moss has admitted that she took heroin with Pete Doherty. He looks like someone akin to that. We have no evidence whatsoever that he is actually taking heroin.
Pause.
Okay.
Next clip. And now watch this and tell me whether he is or isn't, because I know what this clip is. Audio listeners, he's butt naked playing guitar on the tube. You didn't know that was coming, did you?
That's not fair. That's not fair.
Now say it one more time. Is he or isn't the literally butt naked man playing guitar on the overground?
He does look like someone that's taking heroin.
He's got his cock out.
He's not making a word of sense either. If I was on that tube carriage and I couldn't see him being filmed, I would say that man is indeed taking...
He's not on heroin. Just because he looks like no film, it doesn't mean he's on it. Oh, for fuck's sake, he's got his cock out on the tube. If you're watching this, Hugo, no fucking complaints, mate. You got your cock out on the tube. There's no way.
Bradley, for that one, I'm going to put 100 chips on cock out. What a strange guy.
See, but what's funny? So this guy's kind of like recently big,
right? He's gone more viral more recently, has he?
Yeah. And it's the walkie-talkie videos that have done it. This cock out on the tube
was a bit before that.
Pre the numbers going.
That was when he was avant-garde artist as opposed to kind of.
This is my point.
Dr. Zeus style life coach.
Yeah, but then the line between avant-garde artist and heroin addict with his cock out on the tube, it's fairly blurred, bro. That's what I mean. Like, I don't know. Like,
but you make an interesting point though, because a lot of artists, I mean, like that era that we've spoken a lot about today, the Pete Doherty kind of era, there was this blurred line between the criminal underworld and between the kind of dirty underbelly of London. I mean, Pete Doherty, obviously famously in the kind of the terrible event where he was at a party where someone fell out of a window. It's all very shrouded in mystery. And he was running around with this guy at the time who was a heroin dealer. He was at the party and it was all like very real stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like there is this fine line between it all. And that I don't really think that happens much in modern culture anymore. I feel like the artists tend to be so much more well managed now. Musicians particularly.
We say that, but I mean we're only months after, God bless him, Liam Payne.
True, yeah.
I think.
I suppose there's still stuff like where Jay Huss and stuff has had criminal instance whilst being an artist, but that's a different thing, I suppose.
Well, listen, I'm, you know, as I sit here in my knitted cardigan, it might surprise people. I'm a very big Jay Huss fan. I do actually think that there is that he specifically is having like an issue with. God, this is genuinely the most earnest I've been on the podcast, but it is like
he's been targeted.
No, I don't think he's been targeted. I think he was so within the world that so many like rappers and musicians try to kind of like I don't. There have been questions about the validity of Stormzy actually being a drug dealer and whether that.
Oh, does he claim to have been a drug dealer?
Oh yeah.
Oh right.
But then there's a lot of people who are like he's been very carefully managed from a young age, and people at record labels know that a kind of very soft reference to maybe selling a bit of weed is a great way to make a rapper seem legit. Okay. Whereas Jay Huss chased people with machetes, like he was in it
right,
deep.
and he's admitted that, has he? Or
yeah, but he was in it deep enough that like, mate, don't get me wrong, I'll say anything about the skinny guy with his cock out on the tube. I'm going to be quite careful about what I claim about Jay Huss. Right. Don't worry about that. But I do think he was how we ended up talking about Jay Huss. He
Talk about the overlap between criminality and art. Please continue.
So I think he was deep in it enough that like the fame, the money, the genuine critical acclaim wasn't enough to pull him out of that criminal underworld.
Right.
But I also think he has issues with. And I'm more wary of saying this because I don't think Jay Huss is watching many podcasts, but like I do think he might have an issue with drink and drugs at the moment that is affecting his ability to create the music he once did.
Right.
But I like, you know, I've done this on this episode of this podcast. I've done it on loads of other episodes of the podcast. Of like, you could definitely over the course of my, you know, even feel weird calling it a career. It is a career. It's how I feed children. But like, my course of my comedy career, you could definitely level the accusation at me that I've glorified drug and substance use. Right. But you know, as you mentioned there, the death at the party.
Yeah.
Of Pete Doherty, Liam Payne. You know, ultimately, if you stay in that world too long and if you get hooked on anything horrible, the results are scary because it's either death or worse, this guy.
Now we don't know that this guy is in that orbit at all, but like he's evoking
he's not
that.
Sober, is he? Come on, like I know we're not. I know we have to do it allegedly.
He looks like he goes.
What we say,
he looks like he goes to parties, yeah. But I appreciate. I think that the persona that he's created for himself is funny and is like kind of free of danger. Is free of.
I really like this.
Yeah.
I'm really into this because I think like. I
like it that I don't really know what he does or what it's about.
Exactly. But don't you think it's lovely? Like we so often this podcast circles back to conversations about capitalism and, you know,
cuckolding.
Cuckolding and all sorts of other things and
but the system that creates these
system
people.
and ultimately like we're all craven slaves to the machine and you know, ultimately everyone just wants numbers. Does Brian, what's his name, actually want to not die, or is he just doing it to sell
numbers,
hoodies that say don't die and become famous and get a Netflix, blah blah blah? Is any of it real, or are we all just doing it for the numbers? Like, I think this guy is kind of doing it for the numbers. I don't think there's any cash goal at the end. I think
this is not a monetizable product.
Not at all. And I don't think he's doing anything that is any way. I will say there is something because like there is a somewhat monetizable product, but it's not really. Like, he just likes walking around talking bollocks. Like, do you know what I mean? And what a fucking thing that is.
What also, like, that is a very Camden in the late 2000s thing as well. There were people in the scene that were just people in the scene.
Yes.
They didn't do anything. Was it like Wolfman that was mates with Pete Doherty? Who was just like nominally an artist but was just a heroin addict that was like knocking around with everyone.
Thank you.
Right.
You've done it. You've articulated what I've been trying to say the whole time. I love someone who's just about.
Yeah, he would have just been about in Camden.
What does he do? He's just
Don't
around.
worry about him. He's just about.
Just around.
I think he's an artist. He's a multidisciplinary
but he's
artist.
Not. He's not. It's bollocks.
Yeah,
The woman who claimed to have done the illustration in Take On Me.
Yeah.
What's her thing? Why is she there?
Yes.
Why are we at her flat?
Yeah.
She's just around.
She's just about.
He is signed to Storm Modelling Agency.
Right.
He has got a single out, which one of our patrons said was a bit of a bop. Not sure. But like, I think.
But that's wealth. That's wealth. Like, I watched the I don't know.
If your parents are rich enough, you've got a single out.
We talked about Ripley in the last episode, and like the character in this new version of it with Andrew Scott is just a rich guy who's like a dilettante, basically, who like claims to be a painter. He's fucking shit at painting. Yeah. Basically, just sits around drinking all day. Yeah. And like, I like that vibe.
Yes.
Like, I wish. Like, I hate it when I see other people doing it, but if it were me and my mum and dad gave me a trust fund and I never had to work again, there's no way I'd be building an app, or I'd be...
We wouldn't be in here.
Or I'd be a lawyer.
We wouldn't be making a podcast.
I'd be knocking about Soho with women that claim to have drawn the Aha video, doing cocaine at midday. That's what I'd be doing.
And I did. And my parents had no money. I just had to know what me and my mates worked out. This 100% true. Is, you know, when you get a student overdraft, you think that all the banks know if you've got one with NatWest, so you can't just get another one with Barclays. Right. They don't. You can.
You just got more.
We had loads. I was in 12 grand worth of debt.
You do have to pay it back though at some point.
Yeah, it's been a hard 10 years. But what I will say is, in the end, all of my mates did that, by the way.
Yes.
My mate Matt realised you could do that, so we all just did it. We all got in loads of debt.
Great.
But we all just did walk around, like, you know, earlier when I was like,
you kind of lived a trust fund lifestyle without actually having a trust fund.
Yeah, we just got in debt.
Your trust fund was Barclays Bank debt.
Student loan.
Great.
You got a free pair of headphones.
Yeah, that's nice.
But you know, earlier when I was saying how what me and my mates used to do is like drink till 12 or 1 in the pubs and then do coke.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, no work the next day.
Yeah.
Because we would do it on Wednesdays.
Right.
And Sundays. We had the Sunday club. It was called the Sunday Club.
Wow.
It's because we were just opening student overdrafts. More student overdrafts and just getting in debt.
Well,
and,
maybe.
And we had a really good time. But like, I think that's the thing with this guy. It feels like a reference to a time when it was possible to just be free, to just be about.
Be in a squat, living to be knocking about.
Just knock around.
Down the coach and horses, back cadging a roll up off someone.
No, that tube that he's got his cock out and he's playing guitar on.
It's the middle of the day.
That's the middle of the day. Just about. But he's not homeless.
No.
He's not quite homeless.
That we're aware
I
of.
was never quite homeless.
That's a great sentence to have to say. I was never quite homeless.
No, he's just around.
Just knocking about.
He's just knocking about. The woman who claims that she's just around.
Just about.
I won't say her name again. My mate friends with
yeah.
another heroin
Just
addict.
about.
She's just around.
Just around.
And she is actually just around. Like, not to get into that too much. I'm hoping you're only going to bleep that bit.
Yes.
But basically, my mate's got friends with this woman. Turned out she was the ex-wife of this quite famous person. They like had a few drinks with her just randomly one night, and it was like fun. Went back to her house with her boyfriend who was a lot younger. They were quite clearly heroin addicts. They somehow just bumped into them in the same pub in Camden again, had drinks again. At this point, they were like, "We think you should stop doing heroin." Apparently, although they'd never seen them do heroin, they got very shirty about that. They were like, "Okay, you are smackheads then."
They do tend to do that again.
But then the problem was my mate. The mate in question, he works in that area, and he was like, me and my boss will just be having a meeting, and they'll just walk past and like knock on the window, be like,
they're just about.
it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, they're just about. Of course, this is the problem. They're just about.
Yeah. Ideally, someone will come in, give us £20,000 to take the podcast off our hands. They'll install Ed Gamble and Josh Widdicombe in our place to do it, and we'll just for a year. And we'll blow it all immediately, and we'll be fucked, and we'll have to be stealing roll-ups off Jerome in the pub or whatever. But we'll just be about in Camden, you and I.
Should we watch? Is there any? I mean, look, there's his single. We can watch a bit of his single if you like.
What's the last one?
I don't know.
Let's finish with this one. This is the one about being horny.
Now,
yeah.
But this is how you know. There might be people going, no, he's not a Camden Sleaze. He's not a fucking... No, he's just a little old fella just spouting wisdom on the internet. He's not. He's a sleazy cunt. He's.
You're really vacillating between liking him and calling him all sorts of names.
Mate, if you heard what I said about you behind your back, and I love you, but I will say this.
For this one, there's a caption on the screen for people listening, and it says, "I want to be grannies and grandpas with you."
And so that was, someone commented that on one of his TikToks. And what he's done for this video, he's dyed his hair grey like a granddad to respond to that, "I want to be grannies and grandpa with you."
So I'm just going to get this response for Ivy Peacock. I want to be grannies and grandpas with you. And that is very kind of you, Ivy. Since, I'm sort of looking forward to becoming, little granny smasher and doing the little, the darling Zimington. And if you want to look after me and,
So in there, he's wearing looks like a very fine, lovely tailored, heavy pinstripe overcoat. And someone I think put on the Patreon group, this is a good shout, he has the with nail and eye vibe to him.
Yeah, that's it.
He has the vibe where it's like, the kind of really high class, I'm not saying he's a smackhead, but really high class smackheads, real Camden OG smackheads. They're not wandering around like with bare feet or whatever. They're wandering around in like faded glory.
Yeah.
Oh, like long coats, silk ties. They've got dirty fingernails, of course they have. They're begging you for a roll-up, of course they are. But they've got kind of winkle pickers on as well. Like, that's the vibe that he has, that with nail and eye vibe. Of like, let us in, give us a fag, we'll have a brandy. I like that.
Let us in, give us a fag is the fucking tagline of this guy. If he hasn't got an Instagram description, here's what you need, Hugo. Let me in and give me a cigarette. Let me in and give me some Amber Leaf, please. Let me.
I'm going to play some reggae on your vinyl.
Let me in.
Let me in. Give us a fag, give us a brandy. Bosh.
Look,
I'm not sure there's much else to say.
I don't know if there's anything else to say. He's skinny.
He's funny.
He's got his cock out.
And like we've talked about in this thing before, good characters are ones you can recognise instantly. You could recognise him by his outline, or you might think it was Stu Pickles or Jacob Hawley. And then you hear his voice, his funny little turns of phrase. No idea what he does. What's he doing? He's about.
Do you know what? My dream is that after this goes out, someone, because we have a lot of people who do live in North, someone just spots him.
Yes.
Like,
candid camera of him.
Spotting him in the wild.
Yeah,
just pottering around outside an Itsu. Like, just pottering about.
Eating gyozas out of a bin.
He's like the pigeons. He's like a little pigeon man. Just poking them. Just about.
If you see him out in the wild, give him a fag. Give him a couple of quid for some brandy.
Don't move too quickly because he'll fly away.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. That didn't make a word of sense. Not sure anyone's still listening to this bit of the podcast. I'm enjoying myself. Go fuck yourselves. Take care.